Hello everyone and welcome back to Baron's Den for another speculation video as we look forward to Season 11 of Blood Bowl 3. Now, I can't believe how quickly this season's gone. I think with all of the Season 3 tabletop news, this Blood Bowl season's just flown by. So that's really good news. Now, it has to be considered that we are assuming we're getting to get a new team with Blood Bowl Season 11. We're assuming we're getting a Season 11. I see no reason to believe not, but it did occur to me they're going to have this big update to the game at some point. I hope they don't cancel certain seasons to afford more time to get Blood Bowl 3 into its new guise as Warhammer Blood Bowl, I think it's called. So yeah, we're going to go with they are releasing a new team in early December for Season 11. So I thought it'd be fun to speculate what that is, just like we've done in the past. So, this is the current state of affairs. Here we have the original Blood Bowl 3 teams, the Seasons 1 to 10 teams that were added. We've got any teams that were left over from the 2016 Tabletop Edition, the ones that arrived or were reimagined during the 2020 edition, and of course, we can now include Returning and Tomb Kings, as they've come along in Season 3 of the Blood Bowl, the tabletop game. We've also still got High Elves in League of Team of Legend status, and then, yeah, Slam. We'll come back to that in a bit. So, yeah, we're looking in a really good place now for Blood Bowl 3. We've got most of the teams in the game. I think there's 23 or 22 or 23. That means that they've almost got as many teams as Blood Bowl 2 had towards the end of its life. So if there's anyone out there who's not playing Blood Bowl 3 because of the variety of teams, I think now is a good time to jump on board because there's plenty of teams out there. And there's also different types. You've got good variety of Bash, Dash, Stunty, mid-range, control. There's loads of different styles of teams now, so there's a good meta online now. It will improve even more with the new addition of the teams, and of course we'll have the update to the rules coming forwards. But I do think we're in a really good place. Now, when it comes to predicting, I've been hit and miss over the years. Let's go back to them. So Lizardmen, I already knew were coming. I didn't, I think they'd signposted that well early. Underworld, I didn't guess correctly. Undead, I did. Wood Elves, I did, and so I was getting cocky. Then Necro, even though they're my favourite team, came earlier than I expected. So that took me by surprise. I thought we were going to get Goblins then. Then Goblins and Halflings came together, which I wasn't expecting, so I got that wrong. But then from Norse, Amazon, Khorne and Vampire, I've managed to guess them correctly. So I have a good track record that I don't want to lose. But I must admit, this is looking hard this time. I'm finding this really difficult to make a judgment call on what's coming next. So let's get into it. First of all, we're going to look at Ogres and Snotlings. Now, by rights, these should be the next team. One of these or both of them, because they are now the oldest team that have not come through to Blood Bowl 3. Now, some people will say, hang on, Chaos Dwarfs have been around a lot longer than Snotlings. What I mean to say is that they were reimagined, Chaos Dwarfs, from their Team of Legend status in the 2020 edition of the game. Whereas technically, Snotlings and Ogres came along before then. So I'm not saying that their teams are older, I'm just saying their latest iteration is newer, the Chaos Dwarf one. So these two are, the ones that have been waiting around the longest. And we know why. It's because they're both Stunty teams. And I think Cyanide are concerned that if they put Stunty teams forward, people aren't going to pay for the season pass because they're not as competitive. I'm not even sure if that's 100% true. Snotlings are immensely popular on tabletop. I have to play them all the time. They do my head in. So I think the Snotlings would be quite a popular one. And Ogres are a Stunty team, but because they've got potential for 6 big guys, I can see them being fairly popular as well. But it does remain to be said that they are not as competitive as other teams. So that's why they may not get chosen. So do I think Ogres and Snotlings could be next? They definitely could. I think someone said that they've gone on track record of saying that they won't do double Stunty again. That was like a special offer, one-time thing with Goblins and Halflings. And I think if you were going to release just one of these teams, I think Ogres is more likely because you feel like you're getting a bit more of a almost not Stunty team. I mean, it's not true. Snotlings are probably more competitive than Ogres, but Ogres feel a bit more like a normal team because they've got so many big guys. I don't know though. I personally think they should come together. I think that would be a great way to perhaps finish off Blood Bowl 3 before we start looking at changing into Warhammer Blood Bowl. Although we'd probably get another season of Blood Bowl 3 and actually was going to take them a while to update the rules. So they're definitely a good chance it could be one of or both of these teams. Now we've got Chaos Dwarfs. Now this is the team that I think would be the most likely if they'd been out a little bit longer, because they are popular, they are competitive. When I say they're competitive, before any Chaos Dwarf players come on and say how they ruined your team in the 2020 edition of the game, yes, I appreciate they're not quite as potent as they were in Blood Bowl 2 and in previous editions of the tabletop game, but it remains to be said, they're still a popular team. I've faced them quite a bit on Fumble. People love Chaos Dwarfs. So I can see them wanting to get the Chaos Dwarfs out, because they are, when I say competitive, I mean that they're, at least a tier 2 team or up. So I can see them wanting to release those, because they'll think they'll push more units, push more sales by having them out. What's going against the Chaos Dwarfs is they only came out on tabletop a year ago, and I don't know how long it takes for Cyanide to turn a concept into a team. I also don't know the relationship between Games Workshop and Cyanide. For all I know, Cyanide were privy to the models years in advance. Well, I just don't know. But if they only saw them for the first time last year, I don't know if they've been working on other things, whether they would have had the time to knock these out. I think that when they released the Vampire team, it was 2 years after. Probably similar for the Amazon team. So a couple or 2-3 years is the shortest time period we've had between them showing up on the tabletop and then showing up in the game. So it remains to be seen whether they can. For all I know, it doesn't take them long. It only takes them a month or two, and they can knock out a team no problem. We'll have to wait and see. So yeah, Chaos Dwarfs would be good. And again, I think they'd go down well with the fans. I think people would enjoy seeing them in the game. So yeah, I think Chaos Dwarfs are a definite potential in that role. Then we've got the Gnomes. Okay, so the Gnomes were released before the Chaos Dwarfs. So that was about 18 months ago. And again, the Gnomes were a fantastic addition. They're very much loved, and I know a lot of people would love to see these in video game form, because they have not been in a video game before. They weren't in Blood Bowl 2 because the team wasn't invented then. And unlike Snotlings, they are completely new players. At least with the Snotling team, we had Snotlings in the game before. They just didn't have their very own team. And yeah, they've got some new positionals, but the basic Snotling was in the game before. Whereas Gnomes are completely new to the digital form of Blood Bowl, outside of Fumble, obviously. So I think they'd be quite popular. But again, they are a Stunty team, so are Cyanide afraid of putting them as the season pass team for fear that people aren't going to pay for them? Again, you could sub these in with Snotlings or with Ogres if they were going to give us a double pack Stunty teams. But again, the more talk I've heard, the more I've heard that they're not going to do that. And again, I think if they had to put one of these teams on their own, I think it'd be more likely Ogres. But I could see them doing Gnomes as well. This is why I'm finding the decision so difficult this time. So I think that is where the likelihood ends, because Bretonnia and Tomb Kings, they won't want to release until we have the new rule set, because they were built with the new rule set in mind. They've got new rules such as steady footing. They'll wait until we've updated to Warhammer Blood Bowl by then next year. But of course, what a great pair of headline teams to have ready for that update. So I'm assuming the first season of that new update will be one of those two teams for sure. And then High Elves are similar boat. We know that they've indicated, though they told us that there would be a PDF for High Elves, they also indicated that they'd be updated soon. So I'm pretty sure High Elves will be the first team of Season 3 outside of the starter teams to be updated. So therefore, I can't see High Elves coming until that happens. So we can rule those three out. And then finally Slann. Slann may even be gone from NAF soon, because their rules are editions out of date now, and they keep bringing them back, but I know that there's a bit of a call for them to be laid to rest, bless them now. I'd love to see them in the game, and I still wouldn't give out hope of Games Workshop redoing them. A lot of people lean on the idea that the Slann have completely changed, because obviously they're the wizards of Warhammer Fantasy. That's what they became, and they became sage and old and wise and magical, not bouncing around little Blood Bowl players. But the only caution I'd say to that is, I know my Warhammer Fantasy lore, and I know that the Slann team does not fit in any stretch of the imagination. Does the Slann team fit with current Warhammer Fantasy lore? But this is Blood Bowl lore, and it is slightly different. It's a warped version of the world. could I see the Slan, because they don't spawn new Slan anymore. That's the big thing in Warhammer Fantasy. There's no more new Slan because they can't. But in the Blood Bowl world, could they be fed up of the Lizardman teams underperforming and decide that they're going to create a new spawning of Blood Bowl playing Slan? Of course they could. If they want to, Games Workshop could twist that because the Blood Bowl world is different to the Warhammer Fantasy. Yes, if they want to keep it close to the Warhammer Fantasy, they'll never release Slan as a Blood Bowl team. But if they're going to keep going with this wacky version of that world, which they have done up to now, then you could argue it, and I think they'd be very popular were they to do that. Plus, it would give you another Lustrian Super League team, which it's not going to be easy for them to make new teams in the Lustrian Super League area. So I can't see Slan happening anytime soon, and certainly not. The only way you'd see them is if Games Workshop make the decision to bring them back. I don't want to see them as Kislev. I don't. I want Kislev to be their own thing. I don't want them to be pogoing circus people. That's just not Kislev at all. And I don't want to see them as Slaanesh either because, again, just because they pogo doesn't... Just because Slaanesh are agile doesn't mean that they should all have pogo stick. I think that would be doing Slaanesh a disservice. And there's more they could do with Slaanesh. So I don't want to see Slan reskinned. I just want to see Slan. And I think it's possible. But anyway... not for season 11 of Blood Bowl 3 anyway. So it's between these four. So I've got to make a decision. What am I going for? I'm going to go for Chaos Dwarfs. I think as long as they've had the time to implement the models, I think it probably does make the most sense. There is a few new skills for them to do, such as Breathe Fire, but that could be quite cool. It'd be great to see Bull Centaurs in the game. They've got some assets already with the Minotaur. So yeah, I'd like to see Chaos Dwarfs next, and I think they could be next. But this is the hardest one, I'll be honest, the hardest one to predict, because it feels like it should be Ogres and Snotlings, because it's been ages. And then it also feels like Gnomes would be really exciting to see in the game. So, yeah, really, really difficult, but I'm going to go with they want to make money, so they're going to try and get out the most competitive of those four teams, and that would be the Chaos Dwarfs. But anyway, let me know what you think, because I'll need your help this time. I need as many people to comment and tell me which one they think it's going to be. I'll try and do a poll as well, and we'll see. Because we've got four likely teams, so I can do a YouTube poll of 4, and we'll see what people think is going to be next. Right, that's it from me. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, to join in more Blood Bowl 3 videos, and in particular Blood Bowl Season 3 coverage. We're going through a lot of the rules, rosters, changes, star players. So if you want to make sure you catch those videos, please subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you very much. Bye for now.